Hello everybody, welcome back. My name is Orthodox. Today we're doing one of the video ideas that I had on my poll in the community channel as well as on Twitter. We're looking at the priority of which Wyrmprints you should farm out in Dominion. And of course, these are the only Wyrmprints you can use in that new 6th and 7th slot. So considering they're quite expensive material-wise, even if you're autoing all the time, you're only going to have so many to start out. So we're going to be looking at which ones are worth your time right away. And of course, as always, if this helps you guys out, go ahead and subscribe, drop a like, and join our Discord to continue the chat and get in those co-op games so you can clear out your first clears for any of the Dominions that you might not have done, or if you just want to start routinely clearing some of these fights. So yeah, without further ado, let's get right into it. We're going to start off here with actually a mishmash of prints, so I won't go in any particular order, but we're going to start with A Knight's Dream, which is the Axe Boon Wyrmprint. This is actually a skill damage Wyrmprint that you have access to in Yaldabaoth, the Flame Dominion. So this is the new Dominion fight. It is a skill damage print, which makes it pretty universally useful. However, the boon is Axe, which we don't have an Axe Psalm right now, and inevitably it's Broken Punisher at 4. You need 4 axes to use it. If we do get, in the future, an Axe boon, this Wyrmprint is going to be a lot more useful for an offensive build. But right now, as it stands, I'm definitely going to be looking at placing this guy here in better options available. So it's good to have a skill damage print, but notably the boon here isn't going to be doing much for us for that sake. So having it built out isn't the worst, but there are definitely better options for skill damage available down the line. So yeah, moving right along, this is actually one of the more interesting prints to talk about. So there's actually 2 iterations of the print that we did get, one of them being a staff boon. The other one, actually let me just pull up here, the listing of it, is a wolf spoon. So it's called Beneath the Boughs, which comes with Draconic Resurrection 3. So if you guys don't know what that does, basically if you have 50% of the Dragon Gauge filled, so one segment, and the unit faints or dies, it'll be revived, and it won't count toward your revival. This is pretty great. If you're doing this with auto compositions, just turn off your shapeshift, right? Turning off your shapeshift gives you a failsafe in the fact that you can go ahead and revive the unit if they were to down at any particular weird instances. Most notably, some instances that I've seen that would be useful to get around would be things like Blood Moon, right? If you're failing the DPS check in Blood Moon when you're doing your auto composition, you can use this print on your lead or on every unit on your team, right? And this may or may not work. Obviously, it's going to consume 50% of your gauge, right? So at most, I would imagine 2 units could revive if you're going to be consuming that much of the gauge per unit. But that might be enough to at least get you through the run and give you that revive. So that being said, of those 2 prints, right, you have the staff boon and you have the wolf. So we know that there's some value to it. The question is, which one would be better, right? So of the 2 of them, honestly, I'm going to say the wolf version is the better one to have. So I'm going to put that one in the nice to have category. I don't think it's a priority farming option, but the reason I'm putting the wolves up there is it is stun res, and right now we have access to flame for the unlocked slot and light for the unlocked slot. So with flame, if you're looking at lead units for auto compositions, the ones that are going to come to mind are Naveed, right, and Halloween Lowen, both being sleep res, so they don't have that stun res component. Well, there you go. You have Wolf Boon, which is going to give you 1/2 of the stun res component. Now you just need another piece. Well, lucky for us, we actually have a skill damage print in the 6th and 7th slot, the Tutelary print, right, that also has Wolf Spoon. So you can pick up 100% stun res right from those 2 prints and also get skill damage, or you can use Rose prints, or down the line for water, Indelible Summer, which also comes with Affliction Guard on top of that. That's super nice because in the instance of Volk, for example, his Plague mechanics actually lower your resistances, so even 100% stun or 100% sleep still isn't something that will protect you from his Affliction, whereas these Affliction Guards will protect you up to 3 times. So that's a nice combination there for auto compositions and to kind of have things go in your favor, maybe help push it forward so that you can clear the composition with whatever composition that you have. Definitely something to think about down the line. We're going to place it in the nice to have category for now, and then we're going to place the staff's boon value here in the better options available. Now this one is nice in the fact that you can get more buff time. I'm going to place it here lower though, just because buff time's value has gotten diminished with Dominion and Nihility. We don't quite know where that's going to go in future content and future fights, so if that is the case, then buff time does lose a lot of its value. So between the 2 of them, the Wolf boon is going to win out for the stun res utility that it's going to have, and quite frankly it could bring more utility down the line for water as well. So we will have to see. Alright, moving on, let's go on to the next print here. We have actually the skill damage print, Crown of Light. This is the Serpent boon variant. It's curse res on that, which is super, super nice. I'm definitely looking at this guy here and saying that it is going to be in the nice to have category, right? So this one is a little bit better, right, than our previous option, which was the Broken Punisher 4-slot. Getting curse res on poison res units is super nice, especially for things like Tartarus. It's not as common that he's going to curse you, because it's typically towards the beginning of the fight, and then he shifts over into poison, but it is nice to have that coverage. Zodiark used to be more valuable, but now we can clear Zodiark in a matter of minutes, or actually not even minutes, seconds. Seconds. So yeah, it's until new curse content comes along, this print could rise in value for that, but for the time being it does have that notable value there. Also, being a skill damage print does give you the value, which we'll talk about in a little bit, of working with a combination with the Sword Psalm and Small Courage to get that Swords boon combination along with 40% skill damage in the slots. So yeah, moving on, we can actually look at then the next 2 prints. Both of these actually go slotting into Nice usage here. Her Beloved as a whole is super interesting. I really like it, except the usability of the print as of now has been super limited. Initially, when the print came out, the corrosion passive was so oppressive, and the lack of healing at the beginning of Tartarus was too much for the print to be used. So when we only had it in light slots, I was trying to use the print and take advantage of the Sword Psalm mechanic on the prints that we'll talk about in a moment to get that extra strength bonus, because it's 15% strength on Her Beloved, right? And then you can stack the 8% strength from the Sword Boon to get up to 23% permanently, along with the 15% max HP, which is huge, because the next biggest print we have, right, is Study Rabbits, which is 8% HP. So that's a big bonus. That's a lot of stats you gain. However, you get inflicted with this debuff called Corrosion, which does more and more damage over time, essentially killing you in about a minute unless you're able to heal past that to reset the timer. So it would be a lot better. Tartarus makes it extremely hard to use because you just can't heal in his fight. So unless your team can kill quickly and then you have a chance to overheal, healers aren't really necessarily meta in that fight, so it's difficult. And then of course in Lilith, there's really just better options available. It's not worth risking it since you're already inflicting corrosion or getting corrosion inflicted on yourself. You could use it, but there's just so many ways in which the pub rooms and co-ops could go bad. There's really no reason to add extra stress onto your match or put more reliability, if you will, onto a pub healer and then hope that they can keep you alive. So it's best to steer clear from this if you're looking for consistency. This print is more something that you would use to get a ton of extra stats and then clear before the damage dealt to you by corrosion takes its effect. So, of the two though, the Sword Boon one is definitely better because we have Sword Psalm access. In the future though, that Crown Boon with the skill damage that it gives may or may not be useful. We'll have to see really, is how that's going to go. So this next one here, the Mask of Determination, is actually really interesting. One of them is really, really good. The other one is primarily okay. There's not a whole lot of usages for it. So kind of what I'm going to get into is the better one, which I'm going to say is in the need to have category. This iteration with the Bow Boon actually comes with Sword Psalm. And the bottom line is Sword Psalm is incredible. It's a free 8% strength, and then you also get access to the Bow Boon, which is going to start giving you skill haste. So essentially you can get up to 10% skill haste if you max out the affinity on it. And every little bit adds up. It's actually pretty easy to do, especially with how many prints there are. There's a Dragon Prep print that has access to Bow Boon. You've got even skill haste prints that have access to Bow Boon as well. And then of course we have a new print here which also has access to Bow Boon at the same time. So that's a combination that you could use right there, which actually has Stormlash Punisher attached to it too. We'll talk about in a second, the Savage Hawk print. So all in all, this print's a need to have. I think out the gate I farmed like 3 copies of it, just so that all of my units could have a small courage plus the mask bow affinity print plus one of the skill damage prints. That combination right there is super, super good because you're going to get 8% strength, you're going to get the 40% skill damage, and then you have the rest of your slots available to do as you please. All of your 5-star slots are open then, and then one of your 4-star slots in your Wyrmprints are open. It gives a lot of flexibility for how you want to build out the rest of your kit. So I'd highly, highly recommend that. I can't really stress it enough. The Psalm print is just very strong, and it makes a small courage print become that much more valuable in the long run. The other iteration of it, right, is the Lance Boon version. So the Lance Boon version, it's pretty good, but it's only 4% crit. So, if anything, it's going to go in the niche uses category. This is a print that's specifically good on, say, Gala Leonidas, right, or Gala Shell down the line when she gets her slots. Basically, any of the rapid-fire mana casters, you can take advantage of this 4-strike mechanic, which is giving you plus 15 when you have 4 Lance Boons. However, it's only 4% crit at the end of the day, which I guess does max out your ability, your crit passive in your Wyrmprints, because the normal 4-star crit print for mana casters is about 12%. So you're going to get that full 15% from that 2 combination, as well as then you can use the Flurry Strength, Flash of Genius, you can use the 4-strike, any one of the 4-strike prints really. There's a few different 50% 4-strike damage prints that have the Lance Boon on them. And then this print, and then you need one other print. Most likely this new print here, which is the other iteration of Savage Hawk, then to get your final Lance Boon for the 15% 4-strike. That's a total 4-strike centric build. If you guys do want to see some builds out like this, or you want to see me demo like how I build out specific characters, let me know in the comments below. I'm more than happy to go over some of these 7-slot builds and start talking about how I build my characters. It's actually a lot of fun with the Wyrmprint decks and the things that are going on. So yeah, definitely let me know in the comments below if that's something you guys want to see too. We can go into that in a separate video. Yeah, so let's talk about then the Savage Hawks. We've kind of already been talking about them. might as well slot the Lance Boon one where it rightfully belongs, which is going to be in the need to have category. This one here, obviously, as mentioned, is the one for Gauleonitis, so it's going to be superior to your Bow Boon version for Sword Psalm that you already have for the mask, because obviously you're getting that extra 4-strike damage, and he's so 4-strike centric. That being said, you still get access to Sword Psalm, which means you can still use, the Small Courage, and then if you want to do the skill damage print, you can still get access to your 40% skill damage if you choose to do so, or you can double up on the Lance Boon variants to get as much 4-strike damage as you want. The choice is really yours there, which is super, super nice. Then you also have 10% Stormlash Punisher on this one, which is really nice for those that might have missed the limited Stormlash Punisher print, which was for Valentine's Day, along with Bow Boon as well. So you have another iteration here where you could stack double Bow Boon in your 2 slots, still get the Sword Psalm, still get the Bow Boon here, and you could have access to that as an option. Again, there is actually a Grimoire. It's a 3-star print that has 20% strength and Bow Boon as well. So the combination of the Sword Psalm print, the Stormlash print, the Bow Boon Grimoire, and then Small Courage would give you then, your 10% Stormlash Punisher. You'd have 3 slots in the bow for obviously bonus skill haste, because that would activate your affinity, and then you'd also have then Small Courage to activate the sword affinity as well. So that's something that's kind of valuable there, and then all your 5-star slots are still open to do as you please, as those are the most flexible slots to work with. So there's a lot of value there for that as well. So yeah, these new prints are pretty great overall. And, we're kind of coming down to the end here to look at the last 2. Obviously, we've saved the Tutelary one, the Delphi print, for stun res. This again is also just a super nice print to have. Again, I'm going to slot it next to the Resurrection print. Probably actually put these guys in front of it, not to confuse you guys too much. These Resurrection prints, again, they could pretty much go either way. I'm going to say this is the better one, just to have it up here on the bottom of the nice to have list. But as of right now, there isn't any listing that shows that those Resurrection prints have like a mandatory need in any auto contents. But they may just be nice little safety nets. I will definitely be playing around with them more now, as I'll have time to auto through and get the content and get that rolling. So I'll let you guys know what I see and what I come up with. For Delphi, same idea. Nice to have. Skill damage, got a good boon attached to it. Stun is great for the second half of Volk, which a lot of people are having trouble autoing. Again, I actually do have a guide, auto guide for 4 FAFs for Volk in there. If you guys want to check, I can put a link in the description for that. It's also on the channel and in the Discord as well. Link in the description for that too. So yeah, it's always good to have a good little bonus. And then for the last print, we actually have, this is a skill haste print, 4 skill haste with Eagle. It's Burn. Honestly, I'm going to slot this guy in better options available, or the top half of it. It is 4% skill haste, which you can use with, the Noel print, A Dog's Day, to kind of get you to almost 15% skill haste. But I wouldn't really rush this print. Burn res isn't something that happens or is necessary for flame content or for light content, which is where those weapons have their open slots. Yes, you can use the off element weapons on buffers, right, for other content, but it's there's just better options available. Like going for the sword boon, going for the bow, and maxing out your bow boon is going to be better, because you can just pick up that skill haste that way, and you really don't have to worry about it. So yeah, plus 4%'s really not going to do much if you're running Freya or Azazel. It's not going to get you any break points that are that notable. So that about does it for the list, guys. Again, let me know in the comments below what you think, what prints you guys are farming for, and what you'd like to see next. Thank you so much again, and if this helped you out, drop a like, subscribe, join us in the Discord, let me know how you're feeling, and let me know what you guys want to see next. Thanks, take care.